Hey there again, YouTubers. What's up? Use people's superstitions to your advantages. That's a saying I heard from the community that supports MGTOWs. Last year, in year 2020, and I found such saying quite practical and if not highly profitable. So I suppose it can explain multitudes after multitudes of phenomena we tend to see in cross-cultural societies and communities. I suppose it also explains why still nowadays with abundant with easy and readily available access to the global internet, we still see people tons of people, young people, going to college, going to unis, and I'm not saying that none of them gets a decent employment that can support them, that can support their living expenses adequately, but instead I'm merely saying that based on my knowledge, according to what I can observe and hear, both from the news and through face-to-face interactions with real people, face-to-face, in person and physically. So still, I'd say around at least around half of people who went to college and graduated still struggle with securing an adequate employment to sustain their living adequately, not to mention even decent standard of living. But this video is not about the usefulness of going to college, but instead I just like to emphasize the importance, how much it actually matters to harness the power of the mind, not just your own mind, but somebody else's mind, such as winning hearts and minds. We all need to know how to win hearts and minds from people, so that we can salvage and gather the resources we need to survive, to improve our quality of living, or the standard of our living, and etc. And excuse me. So there's another phenomenon I reckon I would like to talk about, that I perceive that pertains to to such saying, to such explanation why people tend to do shite that they don't even know why, that they don't even know why they are doing it, So consider porns, fapping. Well, I do know why I fap, because I just don't have an adequate female human individual as my partner. That's why I fap. And but yes, there are some occasions where I found myself fapping because I just feel so bored, so lonely, to assuage, to alleviate the loneliness. The loneliness, just like Uncle Coach Red Pill said in one of his videos, maybe not just one of his videos, but multiples, a couple of his videos, that he talked about loneliness, about how to leverage our loneliness to make ourselves more valuable. And I have done I have done a translation and subbing to one of his vids called loneliness is temporary. So for those who feel interested, please do not hesitate to check it out. I shall embed the link onto this video. So yeah, no worries, and be my guest. So there's another, so porno, in fact, from a point of from the point of view of at least a self-proclaimed Christian, like what I am, it is still wrong. It runs, contrary to God's design and commandments. So you shouldn't watch it, and you shouldn't lust after the female human individuals in it. But I suppose it's still slightly better or slightly less worse than you actually go out and find yourselves some hookers to bang. So yeah, probably I'm just saying, probably the Almighty would let it slide if you have been forgiven, if you have been saved. It's just my own thing, so don't take my word for it. It's I just made the wild speculation about how God sees those who fap, those who have no choice when it comes to releasing their sexual urges and tensions, but to fap. So yeah, so on the other hand, perhaps why do we do what we do? Why do I film this video? Why am I still not sleeping? Perhaps I just feel too empty to hibernate at the moment, and that's why I am filming this video. And it sounds quite well. It would seem quite reasonable to the vast majority of people out there to make videos, just while they in such video they talk about how they live their lives, how they spend their time, and with whom they spend their time on most occasions. And that's what I been observing and watching on YouTube, not just on YouTube, but also on Facebook, and some on some on certain classified ads sites, such as Gumtree, such as something like crackers.com.au. I don't suppose I can still access such web page, but even with my VPNs up and running in the background, I still can't log into the website, or I just can't open their web pages. It's I don't know what exactly caused such you know inability to access their sites. But yeah, I shall live. I will have to live such. I will have to leave such explanation to my following videos. Not in this video, because this camera, this memory card only has around maybe 200 or 300 MB of space left. Yeah. So yeah, it's just see, use or leverage people's superstitions to your advantage. And there's another saying, which I received from one of which I received from one of my most beloved audiences, called duality, reality. But I don't know, somehow I can't see him on Discord, and nor can I still find his comments on my vids, which he he wrote down comments. And yeah, I just don't know if YouTube has purged him for being an active and keen and passionate MGTOW. So I don't suppose my channel could survive past his tenure, given the period of time I spent staying online, staying live on YouTube for nearly a decade. But I have only been producing contents relating to incels, to MGTOWs, to men's health and well-being for several years only. Shortly after I returned to China from Australia, due to some unforeseen adversely unforeseen outcomes, that were largely due to my own fault, my own sheer ignorance. Yeah. And on the other hand, I want you guys to know that sometimes you just have to act like an utter arsehole, like an utter asshole, but not quite someone purely an asshole. But what I'm trying to say is that you have to be selfish on some occasions, especially when your very survival is at stake, or been put at stake, or somebody's ambition begins to jeopardize your very own survival. That's most likely when you have to make yourself selfish, no matter what. You just have to stick to your own principles and codes in order to survive the storm, and the following tsunami and aftershock, shock waves, etc. Just take a good look at me. I don't believe such wicked woman who allegedly popped me out from her warm and stinking vagina would simply give up on ruining my life. even if the lockdown is still partially in effect, which means she can't just infiltrate infiltrate the residential area, and then comes to my grandma's front door and keep knocking and knocking and knocking like a psychopath, like a psychopath. Excuse me. Sorry, I just got a bit of I just got my accent a bit hybridized or mixed up or messed up. I beg your pardon for that. Yeah. So yeah, just so to sum up, be selfish, make yourselves selfish, but don't behave like an utter asshole. Don't make others people's lives more difficult, unless you absolutely have to. If you don't do so, you would just be killed or persecuted to death, and you suffer a long and agonizing death that won't be what you want, right? Even if we have to die, we would rather choose some way, some methods to to die, to perish with the with as little pain as possible, right? So you don't want yourselves to to die by women's persecutions and abuse, right? So yeah, and you don't want to walk into a minefield, or or got lured to a minefield in the future, without even knowing it, right? So yeah, so that's my point. That's the main point of such code, in which we just have to make ourselves selfish, sorry, just maybe selfish isn't exactly the most appropriate word, but maybe, yeah, more self-concerning, more self-concerning, more self-loving, more self-aware. Probably these words sound way better than just saying making ourselves more selfish. That's just still sounds like I'm trying to make myself sound like an utter asshole and behave like an utter asshole. Jesus Christ. Anyway, guys, yeah, so yeah, I suppose, yeah, I'm done talking for this filming session. So yeah, and there's yeah, so just yes, just some final words to to complement, to serve as some sort of supplementary information for the saying, use people's superstitions to your advantages. Yes, also try to to apply such saying, such principle to business settings, where you might want to start your own business, and you might be you might experience some hard time trying to pinpoint what your potential customers need or want most. So I suppose that's exactly where and when such saying comes in handy. You need to consider what people want and need to make their life better, or at least make themselves feel better, even if their reality, still doesn't get any better, but it just gives them an illusion that their situations have stopped, deteriorating, that sort of thing. So even if a dosage of morphine can make a dying patient feel much relieved, much calmed, and much more in peace, though he or she might already might already have come so nigh to the end of their lives, that sort of thing. So perhaps you can offer some sort of let's just say some sort of consultation, some sort of advisory sessions, for those who feel so desperate, and perhaps you can also teach them how to do origami, right? I have been reading several books about it, and how to do the Japanese styles of arts and crafts. Just try to get people distracted from what's been causing them pain and agony and frustrations. It could be, I suppose it could literally be anything, any method, so long as it serves people's needs of feeling relieved, feeling less burdened, or even just feeling less lonely and more accomplished, more needed, more more sense of belonging, just like the Mass Effect franchise, the Mass Effect trilogy and Dragon Age Inquisition. And what these games have in common is that they all build you they all forge some sort of virtual friendship, and even virtual pimping, and even simping, all at the same time. Especially in Mass Effect, there are lots of well, at least you can find. I'm not gonna say that there are lots of shite like that, shite like this, but you can find plenty of sceneries that involve simping, pimping, etc. in Mass Effect game. Anyway, guys, I have talked enough in this film session, so thank you very much for watching, listening to this video. I hope I shall see you guys soon again on YouTube, if God the Almighty is still willing. Cheers, have fun, take care, stay put, stay safe. Bye bye. Good night and good day. Cheers.